Hi guys, on the couch. It's not the usual couch though. It's a couch in Tinwald somewhere, but that's all I'm going to say. Um, is Connor Jaine, and I have known this exceptional young man all his life.
Stop.
Um, I'm actually his godfather, and his dad Charlie Jaine was, of course, my great mate for many many years. And as you'll see by some of the images that we're going to put in this interview, he has something pretty cool going on here in Tinwald. So, Connor, let's talk about what has led you to becoming a music producer here in good old Ash Vegas.
Yeah.
First up, though, you grew up and born down Long Beach Way.
Yep.
And had schooling here in.
Schooling at Long Beach and Ashburton Intermediate. Yep, absolutely. Um, and moved back here almost a year and a half ago now. That really, yeah. So it's lovely to be back home and
Nice.
and to be doing this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing music. So no, it's been bloody cool.
Yep.
Yep.
And so farming was in the blood, but
Yep, and definitely a time where that was the plan, or at least like living in a city. I was like, nah, I could never. But actually, quite like living in cities now, or at least, yeah.
yeah.
My time
And
in them.
it's
Yeah,
interesting because your old man had that sort of crossroads as well, where
yeah,
he was in a band, Night Ambitions, and there was sort of an offshoot band talked about, and I think Charlie sort of had to make the call whether
yeah. The
stay on the
farm,
farm
exactly.
or follow the musical path, and
Yep.
he chose the
He
farm.
chose the farm, and he did that bloody well. And he still always had the drums there, and was always jamming along. And definitely a massive influence for me, getting into music, and also it's just general love for music, for classic music like Pink Floyd and Dire Straits and all that, which I definitely still, yeah, very much enjoy and reference a lot. With as like the pinnacle
Yes,
of what you could get things to sound like.
yeah.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of influence there and a lot to thank.
There'll be
Yep.
quite a few people watching this who spent some time in the cottage down on the farm listening to Charlie on the drums, and or even me playing the drums and Charlie blowing up stereos with his electric
Yep.
guitar
Yep.
because the amp was in getting fixed. And
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, we had so much fun. Yeah, playing music and yeah, down at the cottage. It was awesome. So you went away to school in Timaru Boys,
Yep. Timber Boys. Yep. That's the
and
one.
you were ducks.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's funny thinking back on that. Yep. Yeah. Very, very academic. Yep.
And how
Tried
was your
bloody.
how would you say your schooling at Timaru Boys High? Was it a good experience when you look back on it now?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was at boarding school there as well, which was jolly good fun. Um, yeah. Nah. Love Timber Boys. That was good fun. Yeah. And funnily, yeah, it was like, yeah, at that time not doing a lot of music. I was just, yeah, really into just the schoolwork, which is crazy to think back on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did the journey into music really happen for you?
It would have been like first, well, I was kind of like, I'd always played guitar, but sort of just strumming along on the acoustic sort of thing. Um, and like enjoyed that, but didn't really like, wouldn't say I was good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I was also kind of into like making shit electronic music on my laptop. Like, I remember in year 13, like watching YouTube tutorials on how to make dubstep and shit,
Okay.
which was funny, and like enjoyed it. And like, so I guess that was me getting my head around how all that software worked and stuff.
Right.
And then in my first year at uni, I met a few other people that were into music, specifically like freestyle rapping and stuff. And so I was like making hip hop beats for people, and they were doing like, we had this hilarious like into flat diss rap sort of battle where like different mates were like making diss raps against other people, and
Oh
like
wow.
with there's like a hilarious video that's still in the depths of my Facebook page somewhere of one of these. So yeah, I was like really into that and like loved that. And then a couple of people that I met through that were just good guitarists and stuff. Everyone was a guitarist really, and so I kind of took a look at myself and I was like, I'm kind of the shittest guitarist here, so perhaps I should get a bass guitar.
Right.
And so that's how that started.
Okay.
And then not long after that, I met this guy Ryan, who was in a band called Mako Road, a covers band, at a party, and we started talking about music. And he was like, "Oh, there's a few people in my band are leaving at the end of this year. They're finishing uni, so we're looking for a bass player and a drummer, and who else would it have been then? And lead guitarist, yeah." And I was like, "Oh, perfect, yeah." Just started playing bass, like, yep, just got a bass amp and everything, like keen as. And so that's kind of where that started, and that was, yeah, the band that I'd been in for, well, yeah, to this day, I guess. But yeah,
So did Mako Road, were you still doing the covers thing when you first joined up?
yeah, it was pretty much just covers throughout
Okay.
that. It would have been last 2 years of uni, just covers band, and like towards the end we were sprinkling in a couple of originals and stuff, but
Okay.
and just playing all the uni balls and all the uni events and stuff, and we'd be like, most weekends we'd have a gig sort of thing. And from going from like, had never played on, well, I would have played on stage like a couple of times at high school sort of thing, but like, yeah, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were pretty shit at the first few gigs, that's for sure. Remember first gig we played was the Gentleman's Club Wine and Cheese, it was, and we were just mates in the crowd that were just throwing cheese at us, just for laughs.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But then you started doing your own thing, started making your own music, Mako
Yeah.
Road,
Yep.
and
Yeah, Ryan, incredible songwriter, and yeah, was starting to write some amazing songs. It was sort of like gigging and honing, and then I had a bit of the recording equipment from the freestyle rapping days. Yeah. And so yeah, I was like, oh yeah, we can just record it in the garage sort of thing, and that's where we recorded The Sun Comes Up, and like with a couple of borrowed microphones for the drums and stuff. And yeah, and then as soon as we released it, it kind of did far better than what any of us were expecting. Yeah, and we're like, shit, we should release some more music, really. Yeah.
it's it's sort of, there's an R&B sort of a feel to Mako Road. There's I can yeah it's a real chill.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I feel it.
How would you describe it? Is that sort of how you would, is a chill R&B kind of sound?
Yeah, I guess like, yeah, I mean, a lot of people would probably like a bit of surf rock, a little bit of, yeah, just alt rock, but like, it's rock, but it's not like rock, you know? It's like, it's chill.
Yeah, it
yeah.
definitely is. It's wonderful. And then so you just sort of honed those skills, made sure those songs were absolutely mint, and then decided, right.
Yeah, as much as I knew how to do at the time, which was absolutely nothing really.
Okay.
Yeah, just watching some YouTube videos and just trying to feel it out, which, yeah. But I enjoyed it. But also at that time, I remember feeling like can't wait to get into a studio and have somebody else do this job that actually knows what they're doing, sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, at that time I felt like, and that was like with those, yeah, we did 3 singles while we were still at uni, and then our first year out of uni did an EP, just like all recorded in my bedroom, which yeah also did really well.
So when you
which is
say
awesome.
really well, you released it on Spotify.
Yeah.
And you're talking downloads, people downloading it.
Yeah,
So
or like streams and stuff. Yeah.
How many downloads were you getting in those sort of early days?
I remember like when we released that, when we did The Sun Comes Up, we got on like the Spotify viral charts for New Zealand and Australia. We were like number 3 in Aussie.
Wow.
And like number 2 in New Zealand or something. And viral charts are like, I don't know what the hell that means really. Like, or it's just more like how popular something is relative to how popular it was before, I think, and like how it's talked about on social media and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I guess because that was our first song, and we just had a great audience around uni and that who knew us through like, you know, playing those covers gigs for a couple of years. So I guess, yeah, as soon as we released it, just got a lot of listens, and it's very like just that style of music. I think like Australians really really get it as well.
Yep.
So yeah, we were probably sitting on like 60,000 or something like monthly listeners at that time, right out of the gate, which was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And we're like,
So
holy shit.
eventually, when you started releasing more stuff on Spotify and released an album and that sort of thing, you ended up getting paid by Spotify, didn't you? Was that because of the amount of downloads that you were getting?
Yeah, as in we get royalties from Spotify. Yeah, so it's just like a you get, what is it? It's like on average 0.6% or something per play, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, got a lot of plays on there now over time, which is good.
We're
Like,
talking millions.
yeah, like 190 million.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, which
So
is nice.
you
Yep.
guys were getting your rent paid at one stage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was sort of like yeah, towards the end of that first year out of uni, that's when we had the EP out and we toured. Probably done 3 or 4 New Zealand tours at that time. We'd do one every season, really. Yeah, played shitloads of gigs, like as much as we could get away with before people got sick of us. And yeah, by the end of that year, we were like, shit, we're just barely making enough money to pay rent. Let's move to Wellington together and quit our jobs. Like, yeah, this is the time. So we went and did that and just like full time did music, just being able to barely afford to do it, but yeah, which was good fun.
When you look back now, that
Yeah.
must have been that you'll be thinking, oh man, that was some good times there.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, maybe a couple things I'd do differently, but it was pretty fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And so, when for you did the whole music producing thing? When did that really kick in?
Yeah, I guess it was sort of, well, as I was saying, like at the start, it was sort of, I felt like I was doing it out of necessity sort of thing, just because we couldn't afford to like go to a studio and do that. But then, and I didn't know what production meant. I didn't know what I was doing was production. And then when we did start going to studios, just like, yeah, it was just sort of, I guess because I didn't know that's what I was doing, and I sort of just let go of like the production side of things, and then nobody was really doing it, I think. And so I guess like, yeah, just sort of once I realized that that's why I was, you know, it's always hard to be happy with your music once you record it. It's just this, you know, even to this day, I'm still, yeah, but getting much better with it. But yeah, I think I like kind of realized that, oh, that's what I was doing was production. Right. And I actually quite liked that part of it. And so, and in the band, we sort of, we sort of started doing less things as time went on, and had a bit more time. And I was like, oh, we might actually start doing that for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was living up in Auckland at this stage, and I signed up for this course at Parachute Studios. They're doing this producer development course, which they take on like 6 people and then sort of give them a whole heap of different like production challenges, like produce a rock song, produce an R&B song, produce pop song sort of thing, like different genres and heaps of different like songwriting workshops with people and stuff. And yeah, I was lucky to get accepted into that program and did all that, and had a wonderful mentor there called Joe Farris, who's a incredible producer. And yeah, just sort of, they really helped me to kind of figure out how to sort of go about being the sort of producer that I wanted to be. Especially Joe, I was like, well, we just done like a heap of shows over a summer with Mako and like had a bit of money, and I was like, okay, I'm keen to put together a bit of stuff to sort of make a mobile recording studio, buy a van, buy some stuff, and then be able to just like set up in batches and like people's houses and stuff.
Yep.
Just because I didn't have a space to sort of properly do it, and so he helped out with like figuring out what to get for that. And then I just started booking in as many different bands as I could and just trying to get as many songs done in a weekend with people as I could, by just sort of bringing in all the stuff, which it was good. A lot of moving stuff around, wholly, but it was good fun, a great stepping stone.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's taken you to the other side of the world. You've done some some stuff, some producing. Is that mainly with No Cigar?
Yeah, mainly No Cigar. Yep.
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 But you've been over to the UK and
Yeah, we went over to the UK last year, and
where did you record in the UK?
it was this place called Battery Studios, um, owned by Alan Moulder, who's done like a whole lot of stuff like U2 and I'm trying to think what. Yeah, I think like the disc that we recorded on, then their OK computer had been recorded on by Radiohead, and I was like, whoa, holy shit, this is sick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it was like, yeah, it was just a cool lot of, I mean, I think that's the thing with London, everywhere has so much history in it.
Yes.
Music history, it's such a mecca for that. But yeah, it was awesome recording there, and gosh, yeah, that studio sounded great. I've been mixing some of the stuff the drums that we recorded there, freaking awesome. And yeah, what else did we do over there? Yeah, we parked up in just outside of Paris for 2 or 3 weeks just for a riding trip, and I sort of brought 4 suitcases of microphones and recording equipment over there, and just we set up in this beautiful old this Airbnb, this old as house that like was all rickety and had all this weird like hunting memorabilia over all the walls. It was real like it was a funny looking place. It was cool, and yeah, just sort of set them up so they could write and just get in the zone for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
In this beautiful place, and then yeah, that's the album that I'm sort of working on finishing at the moment.
Okay.
Hopefully by the end of this month.
Nice one. All
yeah.
right, and so you've done some recording in Neil Finn's studio up in Auckland as well.
Yep, at Roundhead. Yep, that place is beautiful as well.
Yeah. And he actually came along and checked out what you were doing.
Yeah, he did. He did come along. I was would have been so we'd been in there the previous day, and then that night I couldn't really sleep. I kind of got up at like 6, and I was like, bugger it, I'm just gonna go to the studio. Like the drummer was only gonna get there at probably like 10, and I just tried out all these crazy little ideas that I'd had. Like there's this beautiful massive grand piano in there, like the biggest grand piano I've ever seen, that I think they'd only just recently gotten. And I was like, oh, what if I tape down the keys in the key of the song so that when the drums are playing, it sort of like echoes the piano and you get this like cool resonance. But I was also like, shit, what if I get tape on the piano and like take off the paint? And I was like, really careful to sort of make sure that it wouldn't do any of that.
Yeah.
And like a couple other random things that I tried. And I was like putting another bigger kick drum in front of the kick drum that kind of like would sympathetically resonate with and then try to tune that to a note, and yeah, all these weird things that I wouldn't do while the artist was there being like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, can you record some drums? And then Neil came down, I think while I was doing that stuff to the piano, so I was a bit like, oh shit. But he was so chill, loveliest dude. Yep. And was just like just stoked that I was trying all these random things out. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. And he wasn't like, what the hell? Get out.
Yeah. He was like, not my beautiful piano. No, he was so chill. Lovely dude. Yeah. And he's like, I think he'd just gotten back from doing something crazy with Fleetwood Mac or something.
He was part of Fleetwood Mac at the time.
Which is pretty awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So No Cigar, a song that you produced, made the Rock FM top.
Yeah, it was number 10. Yeah, on the top 2000. Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah, pretty bloody cool. Yeah. I was not expecting that. Yeah. And like, a lot of people are very passionate about that countdown. Yes. Yeah.
So tell me, when you record those guys, they're fine coming to Ashburton and chilling out here and
I haven't had the whole band down here yet, just because, well, this album, most of it recorded March this year, I guess, which was kind of before I had most of the set up. But since then, I've had Need's come down and done some drums here and stuff. They like to go to different crazy places. And I think it works for them as well. Like they write different stuff in different places, and like, it definitely helps the music stay fresh and different each time. And they're great to work. Incredibly talented songwriters and that. Yeah, and just they can be in a room for a day and jam for like 12 hours straight and write like 13 different song ideas. I've never worked with people that are that fast and that and good song ideas as well. Especially Willie the singer, he can just be like they'll just be jamming a new instrumental, and he'll just spit verse chorus off the top of his head, and it'll be pretty much not far off what it is in the
Wow.
end, with like crazy vocabulary and stuff. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, he's friggin' gifted.
Okay.
Yeah, which is cool.
Now, talking gifted, I had an interview, and I know you watched it, with Molly Harrison, who's
Yes.
a young lady in Ashburton who I think's got some serious talent. She knows, and she is going to be a singer songwriter. That's her.
Yes.
I'm doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Which I think is half the battle. It's like, if that's your goal and you're solely focused on
Yes,
it,
and
then
you go all in. Yep.
yeah.
Yep, that's awesome.
So I know you don't just work with bands. You're happy to work with the
Yeah.
likes of her, and
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like different stuff is, love doing different stuff for sure. And it's
I know Ben,
fun.
who runs the studio in the new Civic Centre.
Yes, yeah. I've done a lot with him. Yep.
He's said that he's really got a buzz out of recording people, and then when he gets it sounding really good, and he plays it back to them, and he sees them actually realise that they can do it, and
Yes, yeah.
oh shit, I can actually sing. He
Yeah,
says watching that moment is pretty
that's
awesome.
Awesome, yes, yeah.
You must get a buzz out of, once you've worked a song, when you present it to the band and you say, what do you think of this? And they're like,
Yeah.
you must get a kick out of that.
Yeah, sometimes you get that. Yep. Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Usually it's like, oh, I'm going to have my guitar up a little bit louder here. Or,
Yeah.
Which is all part of it as well.
Yes.
Yeah. But I guess, most of the people that I've worked with lately have done, I've done a bit of studio stuff before, sort of things. But yeah, for sure. When you get, like a band that I had in here recently, that was friggin' wicked, when it was just like, before you've even like done anything to the, like, it's just, you just recorded it in, you haven't really like mixed much sort of stuff, and you listen back to it and like, shit, yeah, it sounds sick. Like, yeah, that's a real good buzz.
So, and you don't think that the location of Ashburton will that's going to be okay for getting bands from Auckland, Wellington, and all over the place? You reckon?
Be interesting. Yeah, I mean, Christchurch band's pretty easy.
Yes.
Yep, and that's the ones that have been down here thus far have all been Christchurch bands, and then they can there's enough rooms here that people can stay, and and that works great. But it'll be interesting to see if people do come on down, because
I reckon the semi-rural spot you've got here, and just that getting away from the hustle and bustle, will be attractive for some of the city bands for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's like, just a cool, different way of doing it, I think. Yeah. So I'm excited to see who was keen to come on down, and
All right. So at this stage, where you at? Do you think producing's where you're at, or can you see yourself back on stage with a band at any stage in the near or distant future?
I think it's always going to be a bit of both.
Right.
Definitely for now, mainly producing, but also in a band called Oh and the Mo, who I think we've got a single coming out in a couple of weeks.
What's the band called?
Oh and the Mo.
Oh and the Mo.
Yep. That's the name of them. We've got a whole heap of gigs over the summer. Actually, going over to Aussie. So playing bass for them, which is good. And then like, we know Cigar have gigs over this side of the world. Their bass player lives in London at the moment. I fill in there. We did like an Aussie tour in September. And maybe some shows with them next year, depending on what they get up to. Still a bit of playing, which is good, because I love playing. Yeah.
All right.
Love
and
playing
the
live.
Mako Road fans that are listening to this, they'll want to know.
Oh, yeah.
Any chance of Mako Road?
Can't promise anything, but I'd never rule it out.
Yeah.
It's definitely some demos there. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but cannot promise anything or any timelines or whatnot. But I'd love to. Yeah. When the time is right. Yeah.
Cool. Hey, I think what you're doing is amazing. You and I have talked about doing this for yonks. It's pretty cool to think that this is going on in our backyard in Mid Canterbury. So look, I hope it works for you, mate. I so do. I know me and Jonesy, Charlie's mates, we love having you around town, on our back doorstep, and not that we ever forget your old man, but it's I see heaps of him and all the time. So I hope this works out, mate, and it's a roaring success for you.
I appreciate that, Phil. No, it's great to be doing it here, and I think Dad would be bloody stoked, actually.
He'd be very proud
if he saw this.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Way cool.
Well,
Cheers, man.
thanks so much, Phil.